It's a strange combination. Your body is tired, but it won't settle. You can feel the exhaustion in your limbs, in the heaviness behind your eyes, in the way even small tasks feel like effort. And still, there's movement inside you. A low-level hum that doesn't switch off. You try to rest, but rest doesn't land. Inside this feeling, stillness feels uncomfortable. Not unsafe, just wrong. Like something is unfinished, even when nothing actually needs doing. You shift positions. You get up, then sit back down. You reach for your phone without meaning to. You open tabs you don't need. Your body keeps searching for an action that will finally quiet things, but nothing quite works. Your thoughts don't race dramatically. They circle. The same ideas passing through again and again, not urgent enough to demand attention, but present enough to keep you awake. You think about things you've already thought about, conversations that are over, plans that aren't happening yet, small worries that don't resolve, they just linger. Your body feels caught between states, too tired to engage fully, too activated to stop. Your muscles hold tension even when you lie down. Your breath stays shallow. You're aware of your own restlessness, which only adds another layer to it. You know you should rest. You want to rest. But wanting doesn't bring relief. Inside this feeling, time stretches. Minutes feel longer than they should. Waiting feels harder than doing. Even when you're not moving much, there's a sense of constant adjustment. Your system doesn't trust that it can let go yet. It's like staying alert out of habit, even when there's no immediate reason to be. There's frustration here, but it's quiet. You're not angry at anything specific. You're tired of being tired without the release of sleep or true rest. You might feel disconnected from your body, noticing how it refuses to follow instructions. You tell it to slow down. It doesn't. You tell it it's safe to stop. It stays on. This feeling doesn't come from excitement. It comes from depletion, from running for too long without a clean pause. Your system hasn't forgotten how to move. It's forgotten how to stop. Inside this feeling, you're not seeking stimulation. You're seeking an off switch you can't quite find. You're here, worn down and restless at the same time, carrying a kind of tiredness that doesn't resolve easily. This is what it feels like before anything changes. It makes you keep moving, even when you don't want to. Not in big ways, in small, almost invisible ones. You shift your weight, you change positions, you reach for something, then put it back. Your body keeps adjusting as if it's trying to find the exact spot where it can finally settle, but never quite gets there. This feeling makes rest feel conditional. You tell yourself you'll stop after one more thing, one more check, one more thought, one more small task that doesn't actually matter. You're not trying to be productive. You're trying to quiet the sense that something is unfinished. But each movement adds another layer instead of resolving anything. You notice how hard it is to stay with one thing. Reading feels fragmented. Watching something doesn't hold your attention. Even doing nothing feels active, like an effort you have to maintain. Your mind drifts, then circles back, then drifts again. There's no clear direction to it, just motion without progress. Restlessness also changes how you relate to your body. You become aware of discomforts that don't usually bother you. The way the fabric touches your skin, the position of your legs, the pressure of the bed or the chair. You adjust again and again, thinking the next position will be the one that works. It rarely is. You might find yourself delaying sleep. Not because you're not tired, but because lying still feels wrong. Too exposed, too quiet, or strangely demanding. Your body doesn't trust that it's allowed to stop yet. So you stay half engaged with the world, scrolling, pacing, standing up, sitting down, hovering between states. This feeling makes you impatient with stillness. Waiting becomes harder than doing. Silence feels louder. Pauses feel longer. You fill space without meaning to, just to avoid the sensation of being stuck with your own restlessness. Over time, this pattern becomes familiar. You start expecting that rest won't work, so you don't fully attempt it. You stay in a low-level state of motion, not enough to exhaust you completely, but enough to keep you from resetting. Your system stays on, even when there's nothing left to respond to. None of this looks dramatic from the outside. You're not frantic, you're not distressed, you're just unable to land. And living in that in-between state, tired but unable to stop, quietly shapes how you move through your days and nights, without ever quite giving you the relief you're looking for. It costs you real rest first. Not just sleep, but the kind of rest where your system actually powers down. You might lie in bed for hours, you might technically sleep, but something in you stays on. You wake up feeling like you never fully left the day, like your body was working the whole time, even when you weren't aware of it. It costs you patience. When you're constantly restless, even small delays feel heavier. Waiting feels longer than it should. Pauses feel uncomfortable. You notice yourself getting irritated at things that normally wouldn't matter, not because you're short-tempered by nature, but because your nervous system hasn't had a chance to reset. There's no buffer left. It costs you clarity. Your thoughts don't slow enough to settle into shape. Ideas blur together. Decisions feel harder than they need to be. You know what you want in theory, but accessing that knowing feels effortful. Your mind keeps circling instead of landing. Even when nothing urgent is happening, you feel like you should be doing something. It costs you ease in your own body. You stop trusting stillness. Relaxation feels unfamiliar, almost suspicious. When things finally quiet down, your body doesn't know what to do with it. Silence can feel uncomfortable. Calm can feel empty. You stay alert, even in moments meant for recovery. It costs you enjoyment. Not because you can't feel pleasure, but because you can't stay with it. You move on too quickly. You half experience moments that could have been nourishing. You're already shifting, already adjusting, already thinking about what comes next. The present doesn't get enough time to register. It also costs you compassion for yourself. You start wondering why you can't just stop. Why rest seems to work for other people but not for you. You tell yourself you're doing something wrong, that you should be able to slow down by now. You forget that restlessness isn't a choice. It's a state your body learned when it didn't get enough clean pauses for too long. Over time, this constant low-level motion becomes tiring in a deeper way. Not dramatic exhaustion, just a steady depletion. You keep functioning, you keep going, but you're doing it without the replenishment that lets things feel sustainable. Restlessness doesn't take everything from you. You still move through your life, you still show up, but it quietly takes the space where recovery should live. And without that space, everything else costs more than it should. Right now, nothing is fully settled. You're still tired. Your body still carries that low-level hum. The restlessness hasn't disappeared just because you noticed it. But there's a small change in how you're relating to it. You're not pushing yourself to stop anymore. You're not arguing with your body for being this way. You're letting the state exist without turning it into a failure. You're here, aware of the gap between exhaustion and rest. You're not trying to force sleep or calm. You're not telling yourself that you should be able to switch off by now. You're acknowledging that your system has been running for a long time and that slowing down isn't a command it can follow instantly. That acknowledgement doesn't fix the feeling, but it eases the tension around it. Your body feels slightly less pressured in this moment. Not relaxed, not restored, just less rushed. You're allowing yourself to be in between, not productive, not fully at rest, just here, breathing, without meeting the restlessness to resolve before you're allowed to exist. You might notice that the urge to move is still there, but it's quieter, less demanding. You don't have to satisfy it immediately. You don't have to suppress it either. You can let it pass through without acting on it, or without judging yourself when you do. That flexibility matters more than control. This moment isn't about learning how to rest better. It's not about building routines or finding solutions. It's about staying with yourself while your body recalibrates at its own pace. About trusting that stopping doesn't have to be sudden to be real, that even small pauses count. You're not trying to become calm right now. You're giving yourself permission to be tired and unsettled at the same time, to admit that you want rest without demanding it arrive on schedule. That honesty creates a little more space inside you, even if the restlessness hasn't fully left. You're still carrying the fatigue. You're still carrying the motion. But you're also carrying a bit more patience with yourself, a willingness to stay present instead of pushing through or numbing out. That's not nothing. That's a steadier place than where you started. This is where you are now, still remembering, still carrying, still here.